Yeah, right here. Here we go. Hey,
Oh,
everybody,
okay,
guess
so this is
what?
live. Great.
Yes, we got Mayor Moore, City of Franklin Mayor Moore with us. How's it going today? It's afternoon already. I feel like I've seen you all day almost.
Well, I'm having a great day, and it's Monday all day, I believe. But it was great to have an event this morning where we heard from the media. We were actually grilling the media rather than the media grilling us. So,
I know. You threw out the first question, a challenging question.
no, I thought y'all did a great job on it. And I thought it was interesting some of the things that came up as far as were important events that people had covered. And one of them particularly was the floods that we've had.
Yes, yes. That was a little bit before I started doing this, but yes, that was a big milestone event. I remember that day, man.
We all do. Yeah.
Well, we're here to talk about Find Hope Franklin that you have kind of rolled out, and we just want to let people know about what it is. So, can you tell us a little bit about what exactly is Find Hope Franklin?
Well, I think I need to give you just a little bit of background on how Find Hope Franklin evolved.
Yes, let's start there.
Um, if you remember that Franklin was declared a healthier community by Governor Haslam, we were one of 9 pilot communities that actually received the designation of a healthier community. And part of that required us to create focus in our community on various aspects of health. And we chose obesity, tobacco cessation, activity, and mental health. And so we developed programs and communications and things within our community on all those topics, but found that with mental health, uh, people didn't want to talk about it. You know, it was kind of a taboo subject, even though we know that pretty much every family is affected in some form or fashion by some aspect of mental health. Uh, so I had a conversation with one of the people on that ended up being on this blue ribbon panel that I created and talked about some of the vision we might have. And so we pulled together a group of citizens. Some were mental health professionals. Some were uh, just ordinary citizens. We had public relations folks, and we ended up with Gary Miner, who facilitated conversation 4 different times about how we could narrow down mental health in our community. One of the things that came out of that is there's a great deal of concern about suicide in our community, higher incidence than many other communities, and particularly uh, we were concerned about youth suicide. The other thing that came out was that there are lots of resources out there uh, for people that need health. I mean, help with mental health, uh, but they weren't that easy to find. So we created a website and we filtered all those uh, resources and put the ones that we thought were the best resources there. Uh, we also received a grant from Vanderbilt University to train people in suicide prevention training, what's known as QPR or question, persuade, refer. So we have 9 people that we've trained who are able to go out in our community and give a training course in question, persuade, refer. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit us about the time we were ready to roll that out to the community. So we've only trained about 300 people at this point.
Hmm.
Um, but our goal is, I say if you know CPR, which most of our community does, you should know QPR. And what kind of statements do people make that you should, particularly family members, that they might make comments that should alert you that, hey, they're having some issues. And how do you ask those questions whenever you hear those triggers? And then what are those opportunities as far as where can they go to get help?
Right.
Lastly, one of the challenges every community has is if somebody's having a mental health crisis, where do you go? If they've committed a crime, they're in the back of a police car and they go to jail.
Mhm.
Or they could be in the back of a police car and go to the emergency room, or maybe they're just taken to the emergency room. The emergency room is, having worked in the emergency room a lot of my career, uh, that's a crazy place.
Yeah.
You never know what's coming in. There's heart attacks, there's trauma, and mental health cases go down pretty low on the list as far as things that get taken care of, because these folks are trained really more on emergent medicine issues, trauma, and so on. So those folks may sit in the emergency room for 2 to 3 days, maybe even more, while awaiting some type of disposition to a place where they can get into a continuum of care. So that's caused us to be looking at a facility called a crisis stabilization unit. And long term, we think that would be an important thing for our community to have. Some other communities across the state have those, where people can go and immediately get into a continuum of care to have their issue taken care of, whether it's major psychiatric diagnosis, whether it's a substance use disorder, whatever the crisis may be.
Y You said there are other communities that have those. Are there any nearby Franklin that has those? I've never
Nashville
seen
has
that.
a crisis stabilization unit, it's my understanding. Then some of our committee, Find Hope Frank committee, have visited that. There's one in Jackson, Tennessee,
Mm,
that I think probably is a pretty good model, because those folks can be stabilized there, and then they're affiliated with a facility that can get them into the various treatment programs that are necessary. I think Memphis has one. Uh, so that's kind of one of the things we're looking at. We're working with Rolling Hills. We're working with Williamson Medical Center. We're working with Acadia Healthcare uh, to continue to move this entire project forward. Find Hope Franklin.
mm. You mentioned resources, and there is a website that as you mentioned before, that you've put all these things together for people who need or are looking for a quick list, so to speak, of all these things you're talking about. And that's called findhopefranklin.com.
That's correct. I would urge people to look at that. That website's still kind of evolving. We're getting ready to have a push as far as some media outreach with our PR team, that all volunteer time. We're working with the high schools for football season and basketball this season to have some presence there, as far as some banners that would help identify Find Hope Franklin and help direct people to that.
I was looking at that. It is a great, I didn't even know something like this existed, but for someone like all of us, as you mentioned, either have a family member or know someone who knows someone. I mean, it's not like we don't know any people who have suffered with this. So it is great to have that. And it's so helpful, because I just checked that out earlier.
Yeah, I'm excited too. There's, we have 911, which is an emergency number, and there's 988, which is going to be coming online, which is a mental health crisis line. That, there are other numbers out there, but they're long numbers, and if you're not dialing that number every day, you don't know it or
Right.
can't remember it. So 988 is going to be much easier to remember, and hopefully save a lot of lives and get people into treatment.
Yeah. Tell me about what you hope that people will take away from this whole Find Hope Franklin initiative.
Well, I want people to take away that it's okay to talk about mental health issues. I think that's been one of the challenges in the past, is it's been a taboo subject. We didn't want to talk about our family that had a substance use disorder. We didn't want to talk about somebody that was depressed all the time. Or we didn't want to talk about a family member that committed suicide. I ran into a situation at an event for teen suicide called Out of Darkness. And I ended up seeing somebody there that I knew had lost a child to suicide. You know, I'm a healthcare professional. I felt really bad. I didn't know what to do because I didn't know how to breach the subject. I mean, how do you go over? He's at a suicide event and
Right.
I'm there. And I found out that that was an important thing to do is he wanted to talk about the issue. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I think that you bring that up because I think a lot of us want to be helpful and we want to be encouraging to these people, but we don't know. We don't know what to say and we don't know what to do.
Well, I think that's why question, persuade, refer is very important for people to get that training. It's like a little over an hour training, and we're looking for people to train, and those trainings can be had or scheduled through Franklin tomorrow. Uh, I know we've had some panels at one of the churches, large churches here in the city, and they've had some courses for some of their members. We've trained many of our firemen already, many of our policemen. Uh, so we're looking for groups that we can help people understand what to do in those situations.
Hmm. And the next QPR class, is that going to be on Find Hope Franklin as well? Will that
Yes,
information to
there is a
join?
way to sign up for the class on the website. Uh, and just put your information in there, and then people would be notified when that class would be occurring.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you talking to us about this. Obviously, the biggest probably thing for Williamson County that we all know is when Naomi Judd, we lost her recently. And so I think this is a good thing, jumping point for all of us to talk about this, like you said, and learn more and be more involved with other people's lives.
Well, I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to talk about Find Hope Franklin, and I hope this will generate a few people that are interested in taking the QPR class, and I think we'll look forward to that opportunity.
All right, we're going to put the website up. We've got a whole Q&A on our website now with Mayor Moore talking all about this. If you want to learn more, that's things maybe we didn't mention just now, although you gave us a lot of information, but you can go check it out. All right.
Thank you, Donna. Have a
Bye.
great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye bye.